Welcome to the Local
724 podcast.
in 3, 2, 1.
Taylor Raine in the house. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? We're going to jump right in.
All right, so I am a boudoir photographer. That's my specialty. I have a studio in Greensburg, but I serve Greensburg, the greater Pittsburgh area, pretty much all around. But yeah, I'm a boudoir photographer.
That's awesome. For the people out there that don't know what that is, why don't you go ahead?
So, what is it, I guess? So I always describe it as like women's intimate portraiture if they don't know what it is. So, or people like to refer to it as like the lingerie shoots or this, sexy photo shoots. But really, I'm an empowerment photographer. So that's kind of what I like, brand myself as.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you're selling not only awesome photography and things like that, but you're selling a feeling.
Yes.
You're selling a feeling of empowerment and, sexuality. Not that that's ever a bad thing, like in this day and age. Mm-hmm. Body positivity, I think, is a very important thing. Mm-hmm. In my previous job, I used to work at American Eagle, which is partnered up with Aerie. Mm-hmm. And, that was the whole thing. That was the whole idea behind the company is body positivity, and every body is beautiful.
Right.
And I really got behind that message. I thought that was really neat. It was just really cool to be a part of this company that wasn't retouching like photos and wasn't taking out, rolls if girls were sitting down and things, because that's natural. That's what we see every single day.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So it's actually funny that you brought that up because I, believe it or not, would not describe myself as a body positive photographer. Sorry.
You're good.
So, yeah, because I've been doing a lot of research lately, and the term like body positive, it's a movement. So like it was originally created for people like in fat bodies to be accepted, to accept their bodies, and to also like get proper treatment for things. So it's become like super like catchy and mainstream now. So people like to like throw the word body positive around.
Right.
But for me, I do retouch my clients. I retouch their skin, their under eye bags sometimes, I don't know, like pimples, zits, that kind of things you don't really want to see. And I still use like light and shadows to like pose them in a like flattering angle, that kind of stuff. So really like the term body positive doesn't apply to me because that would mean that I like just like show my clients as they are and that's it. Like I take this picture, that's all you get. So for me, I think I would like say like I'm a self-love advocate. I am and like an empowerment specialist, like those kinds of things. I like to use those words because the term empowerment is a lot different than body positivity.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good distinction between the two because, I think that you're right. It started out with, some heavier people and then it was like its own animal. Mm-hmm. It started to go to like really skinny girls who were kind of, not too comfortable being that skinny. And then it went to the girls like they're in the middle in the gray area that might have had, some skin pigmentation problems or something like that, or acne or blah, 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 whatever. And so I think like all of those things kind of, caught on, and that's a big umbrella. You're right. Mm-hmm. Body positivity. It's huge. Covers everyone, to be honest. That's the whole idea. But for what you do and like what your service is and what the whole idea of your product is, this is a gift for, either them to feel sexy about themselves or, for their loved one, if their husband wants photos of them and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, I think that you're doing it right because, they are paying you to make them feel and look as beautiful as possible. Mm-hmm. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, have you? How did this all start? How did you figure out this is what you wanted to do? What were you doing before that? I guess.
Okay, so I was working at Westmoreland Case Management before, and for people who don't know what that is, it's basically social work. So originally I was in the mental health field, and then I switched over to the intellectual disability side. So just a lot of like helping people. But that work can often be like thankless, and it's a lot for someone who's like very like empathic. So it was a lot. So I've done photography since like college, maybe. Like I graduated, had a camera, and I'm like, I'm going to take photos of my friends and stuff. So I did it for a while. I was not very good at it. And then, I tried to be like jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. And it didn't work out. I didn't know how to run a successful business. So it just kind of fizzled out when I was in college, and I'm like, fine. But then a few years ago, I was like, I'm going to try it again. And I was in some groups and stuff. And I found boudoir photography, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, what is this? And then I looked into it more, and I thought it was really cool. And I saw people could like do pretty well with just doing that. And I'm like, well, that's really appealing. So yeah, I got some friends. We rented an Airbnb. I took their photos, and that was kind of like, that was it. But then I started to see like what it did for people, and like how my work actually like had an impact on them. And it was really cool. So I was like, well, this is cool. And I don't know. Then I was doing both. I was becoming really successful, and I like one had to go, and it was my full-time job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the hope for everyone.
Right.
Every entrepreneur
Yeah.
wants the full-time gig to skedaddle.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a very neat thing that you're doing, and I think that this is the time. If there was any time in the world, this is it. This is the time for something like that to shine,
Right.
and be very popular and accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some people that don't understand what you do?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. A lot of people don't understand what I do. Especially like people who are a bit older.
Right.
They don't understand. They think that it's bad or gross or, something that should be kept private. I've even had people call it porn before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, which is obviously not what I'm doing at all. But yeah, so definitely people don't understand. And I think it's really just people not wanting to understand. Mm-hmm. So they just see people in lingerie and looking kind of sexy or like revealing. And it's like, oh, well, that should be put away. And then people don't want to take the time to understand what it is and what it does for people.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of went through similar things whenever I was working for Aerie. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't so much like people looking at me sideways about it. It was more like, the older generation, some of the guys in my family just being like, oh, Jordan's over there shooting porn. And it's like, no, I'm not. Right. Like, the only thing, porn isn't the only thing that video is all about. Mm-hmm. I mean, like there's commercials and this and that. And it's marketing. I mean, that's what it was. And I tried to explain that. And everyone always just kept going back to boobs and butts. Right, and
right.
That's that.
Right. So. Yeah. And I see a lot of those. Obviously that's my job. But but yeah, the whole porn thing, it doesn't make sense because, porn is just created for like the viewer's pleasure. Yeah. And like that's not what I'm doing. So I mean, they're totally different. And yeah. Yeah. It's not a good comparison. Some photographers, their work is very erotic. Mine is not, but yeah.
Yeah. So you're you're like kind of more on the softer side, the more about like, I've seen your work obviously. Mm-hmm. And what I really appreciate about it is kind of your knowledge of light, how you use it, and just like the shapes that you create and like the close-ups that you get in on and stuff. Like if the shoulder is like creating a really cool shape as opposed to like the negative space of what's going on there. It's like really cool. It's a really awesome photo. It's really artistic is what you're doing. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about anybody that's saying anything about porn.
Yeah, cousin Ed over there is like, oh, it's porn. And no. Yeah. But yeah, really, I like that you mentioned that it is art because like I want to show my clients and the people I work with that, their bodies are like, as cliche as it sounds, masterpieces. And like you should deserve to see yourself as art. Like I think that's really powerful, especially when you see it printed like on the wall or in an album or however you choose to display your photos. I think that is what is really powerful, to like be able to see that photo every day and be like, wow, that's me. Like I did that and I am, beautiful, powerful, confident, sexy, whatever word you need to feel that day. I think that's what's really cool about it.
It is really awesome. I think that, people are gonna have their preconceived notions, and that's that. But you mentioned the Airbnb, so that was your first. That was like your portfolio shoot, basically.
Yeah,
it's kind of what was going on. Since then, you've gotten yourself a studio, and like, kind of describe your studio. What's going on in there?
Yeah, so I am located like right by Beagley, right above an insurance agency. I'm not going to say the name of the insurance agency only because I always like botch it and it's terrible. Sorry, Jerry, if you're listening. But yeah, so I have like a tiny, that's like less than 350 square feet, like 2 little rooms. It looked a lot different before. We put hardwood floors in and we painted, and there's just one little room, and I move all the furniture around like 50 times. I don't know. I'm sure Jess told you that since you did mention her the other day. But yeah, I move everything around like 5 million times, and it's like musical furniture. But it's a really cool space. The light is awesome, and it does what I need it to do. Before though, it was shooting in different Airbnbs, and it just became a lot. It was expensive, and I had to go to the city, and it was just, I was like restricted for my time, and I didn't know what I was walking into. So, the photos you see on the app are not always what you're getting. Right. So yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's stressful. I know, just being like a video guy, like my studio is that's like my saving grace, or whatever you want to call it, my sanctuary. It's just like, I know where everything is. I know how the light, comes into that room. It's just, I couldn't imagine jumping around into like new spaces and, setting up equipment, doing what I want to do, tearing down equipment and getting out of there and things. That would be pretty stressful, I would think. Yeah,
it was. And I mean, I think I still did an okay job, because like at the time I was still learning what I was doing with how to pose people and flatter them and make them feel comfortable. So it's a wonder that I even did well then. But yeah, and it's just, I wanted to provide like a better experience for my clients, so they could come in and it would be more of like a safe place, and it wouldn't be some weird, I don't know, Airbnb that we didn't know anything about. And I don't know, I just wanted to create a better experience for them too. And actually, I don't know that I should like say anything before it happens, but I did look at a space yesterday, and it's been a space that I've been looking at for like 2 years. So hopefully everything goes well, and we'll be able to expand a little bit in the summer. So I'm not going to like say where it's at or anything like that in case it doesn't work out. But
yeah, that would be awesome.
But yeah, so it's been something that I've been wanting to do for a while. So hopefully it goes well.
Good. Congratulations. I mean, that's pretty awesome. If you can, when did you get into your space?
It would have been last November I signed my lease. So I was still working my full-time job.
Yeah.
I got the studio, and then I was, shooting on the weekends and that kind of stuff. And I actually had a pretty flexible job, so I could take off during the week to kind of just see like,
oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Like, can I do this? Can I, have people come in during the week and still, be successful? So then, yeah, finally it was like, well, I'm running out of PTO, so I better just like make a decision. And so yeah, I did.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So a little over a year, and you're ready to expand. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
As far as entrepreneurship goes, that's like the dream. You keep growing, so that's good. I think it's awesome. So, in your space, like I said, I've seen your stuff. So you've got bed set up. You have like a couch. Is everything like pretty much natural light?
Oh yeah, I shoot primarily natural light.
Yeah.
Except with the neon shoots I've been doing, like the after dark sessions.
I saw those.
Yeah.
They look fucking dope.
Thank you. Yeah. So obviously we do those when it's dark out. Or just like block all the light. But yeah, I sadly, maybe I'm not like a real photographer because I don't know much about studio lighting, but I know nothing about studio lighting, and it's terrifying to me. I probably shouldn't admit that on a podcast, but
no, some people are like that. I have tons of photographer friends that don't ever really want to use any kind of studio light. And I mean, when I'm out shooting, like any kind of like event or something like that, or if I have to go out and do headshots and stuff, I try not to use flash. I'm more of a video guy. So I bring my continuous lights and I set those up because I know what I'm getting all the time. Everything's the same. With a flash, I mean, who knows? The color comes back different, shades of whatever,
Right.
So, it is what it is. I mean, like, people are out there mastering flash and strobes and all of that stuff. But I mean, natural light to me is just the best. I love natural light. I love the fall off that you get from a natural source, and just the shadows and things like that. It looks amazing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, it's more challenging too. Because like, oh, what am I walking into today? And like, we live in Western Pennsylvania, so most of the time it's like cloudy and gloomy. And I'm like, oh, this really sucks.
Yeah.
But some days, like especially in the winter, the sun will come in and it's just like creates all of these beautiful shadows and light, and it's so good. But yeah, I mean, I am like trying to like figure out strobes, but it's gonna be a while until I would ever incorporate that into work. So
yeah, it's tough. The one thing that I think that I like the most about natural light is the ability to, and yeah, I mean, you can do it with strobes too, but I like to bounce. That's my big thing. Like, if I can break down everything to like its basics and just say like, I know this source is coming in this way. If I want to take some more light away, I'll put some black over here and make those shadows like nice and dark. And if I want to add some light, I just throw a bounce card. And it's simple, it's easy, and you basically end up getting what everybody else is getting with these super complex setups.
Right.
But, it's super easy like that. All right, nerd talk over. But so do you plan on, I know you didn't want to say what your location is, but will you be still in Greensburg, in the Greensburg area?
Oh, yeah. Not far. It would just be a few blocks down the street. I'm on Main Street, so which is cool. But like at the like not busy side of town, down by like the police station, which that always kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm like, what if they look up in this window and see what I'm doing? But yeah, it's just
like a Mrs. Maisel type thing.
Yeah,
she'll come in and get you for lewd.
Yeah.
Lewd X.
But yeah, it would still be in Greensburg. I don't really want to go like to the city because it's just, I mean, I don't live there. I like Pittsburgh, it's cool, but I mean, a lot of my clients come from this area. I do get clients from Pittsburgh, and I've had people come as far as like almost New Jersey, which is really cool.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, Greensburg. I mean, I like it here, so
right.
I don't know. I don't really want to go elsewhere. Yeah,
I feel that. I mean, like when the whole idea for me to like start my video company was, go off on my own and do this. Immediately, I just thought like I am sticking to my guns. Like what I said in college was just like. Everybody wanted to go to LA. Everyone wanted to go to Miami. Everyone wanted to go to New York. And I was just like, I just want to go to my hometown and like get a production company up and rolling and like do shit for local people. And, my professor was like shocked that I said that. And he was like, that's what you should want to do. Like, that's awesome. And, so that's what it was. Like I worked down in Pittsburgh, obviously down at American Eagle and stuff, but it's just that drive. The drive killed me. It was like soul sucking on both sides of my day. It was like a bookend of awful in the beginning, in the end. And it just like, it was terrible. So I didn't want to incorporate that feeling into the new business, the new venture, because it was just like, that's a negative.
Right.
And I was just like, no way. So yeah, sticking close to home is good. If you have to like run to the studio or do something, I don't know how far away you live, but it's probably not that far, and there you are. Right. I mean, you can run in and shut the lights out if you forgot to shut the lights out or something like that. So
right. There was something I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was, but but yeah.
Do you work with other local, like the hair and makeup person that you work with and things like that? Are they also local?
So I have like kind of like a team of sorts. I use like different people depending on when they're available and stuff. My makeup artists, they primarily come from Pittsburgh. Just like that's who I've been able to find who's available and who does a good job and kind of like fits what I'm trying to do. And then I usually have someone else come in for hair, and usually that's one of my good friends. We've been friends for a long time, so she usually comes and will do that for me. So, but yeah, if anyone's listening and they're in the Greensburg area and want a job, and you do hair and makeup, let me know, because I'm always looking for people, to be on our team and to kind of like help us to do our job well.
Yeah.
So, and it would be great to I love my girls from Pittsburgh and I still want them to work for me, but sometimes it would be nice to have someone who's a little bit closer, when we're in a pinch, or like I had to shoot next week, like unexpectedly, and like they're not able to come. So yeah.
I might be able to help you out. There's a woman that I worked with at American Eagle. Mm-hmm. She has a studio in Greensburg. Her business is Pittsburgh Makeup.
Okay.
Her name is Julie Marcasato. She's actually going to be on the podcast here shortly, probably in March.
Cool.
But she's really awesome, and she's used to dolling up, models and all kinds. Right. So I'll hook you guys up.
That'd be great. Yeah. If my team, if you're listening, I'm not getting rid of you. I'm just saying. So
you got to work on options.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I have people that, reach out to me to be on the podcast, and I'll shoot out a date. Mm-hmm. And then they don't get back to me for like 5 days, and they're like, okay, that date works. And I'm like, well, it doesn't now.
Right.
Because I've booked like 6 people since we've last talked. So, it is what it is. If you're, in a pinch, you gotta have more people available to you.
Right.
So,
right.
It's very cool. So in Greensburg, I mean, like you're very well known, as we heard from Suzanne Ward last week.
That was wild.
Pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, I was listening and I was like, and I was just listening, and like towards the end there, she mentioned my name and I was like, what in the world? I was like, me? So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's funny because I didn't grow up in Greensburg. Mm-hmm. I was born in New Kensington. And then, how old was I when I moved to Ligonier? I don't know. I was in like 2nd grade. So like, I grew up in Ligonier for most of my life, and then went to college at Pitt. And then, my husband and I moved to Greensburg a few years ago. So now, I don't know, I guess like we call this home, and I like it here a lot. And we've even been talking. I'm like, I really don't want to leave Greensburg. Maybe it's because people are starting to know who I am. Right, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. So for whatever reason, I'm starting to be well known around here, and it's just wild to me.
It's pretty awesome. I think that you're doing good things, mm-hmm. and just not only for people, but definitely for the town, the city of Greensburg, because as we were talking about like going to Pittsburgh and things mm-hmm. like that, if somebody wanted to do something like that lived out here in Latrobe or even in Ligonier, mm-hmm. that trek gets further and further the more you get to Ligonier to Pittsburgh. I mean, it's like we're in a comfortable spot right here,
right?
Like 35 minutes out. Mm-hmm. Then you get to Latrobe and it's like 45 minutes. Ligonier, you're like up over an hour.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have local resources, to be able to get what you want here mm-hmm. in town. So, businesses are popping up everywhere. It's awesome. Things are going really good. And I don't know. I'm thinking Greensburg is the place to be here shortly.
Yeah, it seems like it. So especially even like Suzanne has all these plans and stuff. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in the next few years with Greensburg. So
yeah, definitely. So as far as like camera gear goes and things like that, have you upgraded since you started?
Actually twice already. So last year, or was it 2 years ago? I bought a full frame. It was a Nikon D750. And then actually Black Friday this year, I needed to use some of my money, for the tax man.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, I really want to try mirrorless. So I got a Sony, and that has been fun trying to figure out how to use that. But so far, it's pretty cool. So
that's awesome.
So Sony's where it's at right now, and yeah, it's just a learning curve for sure. But
yeah, I had the same situation. It was right after Christmas. I was thinking taxes, spend some money, mm-hmm. and I actually went with the Sony as well. I got the A7 III.
That's what I have.
Same camera?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a neat camera.
It is.
The menu is humongous.
Yeah. Actually, the one day, it was like my 2nd or 3rd time using it, I think. And my makeup artist was like, "Oh, can you take a test shot, Taylor?" And I'm like, "Okay," but my the LCD screen was black, and I couldn't see anything through the viewfinder, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is terrible." I was like, and then my battery wasn't charged for my Nikon, and I'm like, she's gonna have to go home. Like, what am I gonna do? So yeah, trying to learn that was that was terrifying. That was a terrifying day.
I'm sure it was. Mm-hmm. I mean, like it is always rough whenever you're in studio and everything's streamlined. Like processes are streamlined,
Right.
especially like for a shooter or an editor or something like that. It's like you have your benchmarks that you need to hit, and then all is well. But you definitely run into problems and stuff. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't do much about it.
Right.
So, but you have traveled with a group of other boudoir photographers. Where were you guys at last? Mexico?
Yeah. So I am involved in like some like education groups and stuff, and then you're in a lot of the same groups, and you like talk and just become like internet friends with a lot of people. So in October I went to Mexico. I think there were 10 of us. There were 10 boudoir photographers, and one, she actually wasn't a photographer at all. She was a nurse. But it was called Body Image Boot Camp. So a lot of people think that it's, oh, like I'm going to go work on my fitness and lose weight. And actually, really, it's the complete opposite. The woman who taught us the course is Terry Hofford. So she's a big role model of mine, a good friend and a mentor. But she does a lot with helping. She's a big body image activist. So she does Body Image Boot Camp to help people kind of like relearn like, all of these negative behaviors that we have regarding our body and diet culture, and just kind of like breaking away from that and just finding like happiness and like peace within yourself. So we went and we did the course for like the first 3 days. And it was really heavy, very like emotional, and just like, oh, like all of this stuff that I've learned for 25 years, that's terrible. So just like relearning that stuff. But it was really cool because at the end, we're certified instructors, so I can do the course myself.
Oh, that's rad.
Which is pretty cool. So it really wasn't about photography at all, but I mean, the course and the boot camp it really goes in hand with what I do and what I'm trying to do for my clients. So I've been wanting to do my own body image boot camp here in Greensburg or like travel somewhere, but I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to like really plan it. But it is in the works for the next few months. So
that's awesome.
We'll see. Yeah.
Busy isn't bad.
Yeah.
That's definitely good.
Yes.
So do you plan to, at some point, maybe educate other photographers that are looking to get into this business? Like kind of how to basically. I mean, what you're doing is good. People are noticing it. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously you have something to teach other people.
As far as like just like how to run a successful business or how to like
it could yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm on YouTube and I do a lot of like how-to videos about video, making videos, making marketing videos, how to, get eyeballs on your website, things you can do on Instagram to do this and that.
Right.
But, and I find that a lot of beginners to YouTube is my main audience. Right. I mean, everybody's just like asking the simplest of questions. Like, so I shot these videos on this camera. How do I get them onto my computer? And it's like, that's something that I would never even think to say in a video, because I just assume everybody knows. You pop the card out and pop it in your computer, and that's that.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, it's like 20 people a week who are like, all right, cool. Now, how do I get this stuff on my computer?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then what do I do? And it's like, whoa, okay, so get back to basics.
Right.
Do you have any plans of ever doing anything like that? Maybe just saying like, hey, here's a few lighting tricks, or hey, here's how I do things, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, geez. I've really never, I mean, it's like crossed my mind like once or twice, and I'm like, oh, this might be cool. I haven't thought about it. I'm not a very good teacher, like at all. So I don't know that I would be good at like teaching someone, but I do love to help people, like if they have questions about stuff.
Yeah.
Really, like in our area, I think that it would be cool to teach other people that you can have a successful business, and you don't have to be a shoot and burn photographer. You don't have to like give everything away on a CD for $50.
Right.
I think like teaching people how to be successful and to like be okay with being successful, because I think it's like something that we don't often I don't know, we like shy away from and don't want to talk about it and like just like fear success. So I think like teaching people to be okay with that would be cool and like helping them to get there.
Yeah.
So I mean like because there's enough to go around in our area.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I just think helping people with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean I guess if people wanted to learn from me, I don't know what, you know, I guess it's crazy that people would want to learn anything from me, but
It is nuts to think that. But I mean, let's throw it out there. You're the authority of this service in this area. That's you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the reason I ask is because like in the creative field, like in the business, that's what all these people are doing. You like see on Facebook, you see on Instagram, like, hey, you can come and take my webinar for blah, blah, blah. And you can do this and you can do that. And that's kind of the way that things are going. And it seems strange that all these people call themselves like, you know, 6-figure photographers, but I'm not really seeing anything that they're doing other than putting out courses.
Yeah, you're not shooting. So,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like everything kind of like falls by the wayside and it's kind of weird. But yeah, I love to shoot.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So
yeah,
that's what I was just curious.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe in a few years, if I was at a place where I felt comfortable enough to do that, I would. But yeah, a lot of my friends and like my peers and stuff will be like, oh, did you see so-and-so teaches now? And like, it's just like another one every day.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're all kind of like, everyone's kind of teaching the same stuff too. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I guess really like my job that I care more about is helping my clients to like, you know, I think, how do I want to word it? Like teaching my clients like what, you know, they're capable of and like to help them like feel, you know, whatever word you want to use, beautiful, you know, powerful, all those things. I think that is more of my purpose than like teaching other people. I mean, maybe that will change in a few years and that would be really cool. But I think for right now, like this is kind of like what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you realize that you had a passion for really helping people feel good about themselves?
Well, I guess like I've always like pretty much in a lot of the jobs that I have had, I've always wanted to like help people. I'm like a helper and a doer, I guess. So like social work, that's a helping job, and like psychology, that's my degree. I don't really use it now, obviously.
Probably somewhere down the line and you don't even know it.
Yeah. Well, I guess I do use it at my job a lot currently, but yeah, I think after I started to like get, you know, clients and like hear their stories and then like see them react to their photos. Like I've had people cry and tell me their stories and it's really powerful. You know, so just to know that like I can like help them, you know, feel whatever it is that they need to feel and to like really just like be comfortable with themselves and their story and their bodies and accept that stuff. That's really cool to me because I kind of just see like the hold that our culture has on us with a lot of that stuff. So to just help people to like break away from that if they want to is really cool. So yeah. And it's just hearing everyone's stories and like what like a boudoir photo shoot means to them is really cool sometimes too.
Yeah. I think, you know, just, you know, based off of like society and people that don't get it all the time, negative people, we'll call that. I just, you know, it's challenging. It's, you know, I would see that with like Aerie and things like that. You know, there was a girl that I worked with is a super famous model. Her name's Iskra. Like everyone just knows her as Iskra. She's like one of those people that have transcended the two names. She just has one,
right.
But it's Iskra Lawrence. And, you know, the girl's, I don't know, she's like 4 or 5 million followers on Instagram. And like, she's huge. She's just humongous. And, I would go through comments after our shoots and stuff would get posted to Instagram. And, you know, there would be these guys that go in there or girls who would just be like, oh God, eat another bag of chips or something like that. And it was like, what the hell? Like, right. It would just like blow my mind because like this girl is, yes, she's tall. She's very tall. Right. She's like a good 6.5 feet tall. And, you know, she's a bigger girl, but that's what her thing is. Like she owns that. And like, I think she's like one of the coolest girls that I've ever met in my entire life. And, so that's challenging. I think it's challenging for people to, you know, go and put themselves in a vulnerable spot and, you know, be okay with that.
Right.
Like what's the most challenging thing that you've had to overcome in this business?
Well, aside from like people kind of like not understanding what I do and thinking that I'm like crazy or dumb or it's disgusting, like aside from all of that, I think really just getting my clients to like, you know, to be vulnerable and to like see themselves in a different light and you know, be comfortable with their bodies. Because I have a lot of clients who come in who are just not, like I've had clients come in and they're like, oh my God, I need a Xanax, or they're like shaking, and I'm like, okay, like it's okay, like just to get them to like relax and cool down and be like, all right, like this is you, like we're gonna experience this and it's gonna be a lot of fun, and then like always before I show them their photos, it's like, okay, like I want you to look at this like you're looking at someone else. Because like usually like if we're just like, oh, that's a photo of me, I hate the way my arm looks, look at that belly roll, look at my stretch marks, just getting them to like see those things and be like, okay, that's my body and it is what it is. And to just be like, okay, that's cool, like that's me and that's my story and I accept that. So just getting them to like kind of like reframe their mind work a little bit sometimes can be challenging, but I think it's sometimes it's like the start, you know, with them coming to me, it's like the start of that process for them. So it's just kind of cool to see where it goes from there. Usually. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really important that you have the ability to talk to people like that and make them feel comfortable because, I mean, they are in a vulnerable state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, you're going to come in and, you know, you can't have a photographer. Like, I mean, I learned this, you know, working that in this industry. You can't just be a photographer and like have someone come in and just be like, all right, cool, here we are. All right, be sexy, go.
Oh, right.
That's like, what?
What does that even mean? Like,
right.
Be sexy. Yeah.
So it's like you have to really kind of relay to them what the vision is that you see and something that, you know, you think that they're going to enjoy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But so when did it, like, what did it feel like whenever you kind of got the hang of this? You were just kind of like, all right, I know that I can make these ladies feel comfortable. I know that these pictures are going to turn out awesome. And that, I mean, just how did it feel?
Oh, geez. I mean, there are days still when I'm like, okay, what am I doing? Do I know how to use my camera? And like, what,
I go through that all the time.
Like, do I know how to pose this person? Do I know how to talk today? Like, I still like get worried with every client, like, oh my God, what if they hate their images? And what if they, you know, didn't have fun? So I think if I was always just like super comfortable all the time, I wouldn't be growing.
Right.
But I think, after like, you know, doing a few rounds and like getting the hang of it and then just like getting feedback that I was doing a good job, I think that was like, okay, you know, I'm doing all right now. So I think, and I don't know, I guess that just kind of like helped me to continue. That was a terrible answer. I'm sorry.
No, it was really good. I mean, it's really tough to like kind of answer these things because, I mean, like I said in the beginning, I mean, like you're selling a feeling.
Right.
And for most people who are out there that work some 9 to 5 that like produce widgets, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Like, we're these crazy hippies that they're like, who are they?
Right.
But it's like, that really is what is happening. Like, you're really making an entire population feel very comfortable about themselves. And, you know, it's very important to have them relaxed because if they're not relaxed, I mean, it's going to show through in your photography.
Right.
You know what I mean? So as far as like the business end of it, what, like, I mean, posting all the time, doing your marketing, like, do you work with somebody to help you do your marketing or is you're a one-man band?
It's just me. It's just
Same
me.
here.
I am.
It's tough.
Yeah. I'm the receptionist. I am the CEO. I am my bookkeeper. Actually, no, I did finally have someone. I hired someone to do my bookkeeping. Thank God.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I do it all. Social media manager. I obviously shoot and do the retouching. I clean the studio. I do everything except the hair and makeup, because I'm not equipped to do that. But yeah, it's a lot. And even like social media, it's great. It's a great tool, to be able to connect with people, but it's so exhausting. Like, I'm not going to lie. It is so exhausting. And I actually have, a Facebook group for my clients, just women right now. Sorry, guys. of over 2,000 women. So
2,000.
Yeah, over 2,000.
Holy shit.
So yeah, it's a lot. So it's cool though, because it's more than just like me posting my photos. It's a community.
Yeah.
Which is really important to me. So I think that's why I like Greensburg, and it's a city, but it's still like, you still get to know people. But yeah, just going back to, what I was saying about the Facebook group and managing it, it's exhausting sometimes to like manage it and post in there and reply to everyone's comments. And so some days that I don't really do a lot of social media, then I'm like, oh, I'm not on social media. People are going to forget about me and I'm never going to get a client again. So yeah, so that can be, it's rough. It's rough.
It is. I mean, those are the thoughts that like bounce around in your brain at night when you're thinking like, man, I could probably get up and go do some more work. But I mean, you have to take time for yourself. You have to schedule that in.
Oh,
and
sure.
if your bedtime is 10 o'clock, just get in bed.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
they'll wait around. They'll get their answers.
For sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate to that a lot because I was working my full-time job, which was, 40 hours a week. And then we were planning a wedding at the time. And then I was also trying to get my business off the ground. And so honestly, I almost, hit burnout last year because I was, just not taking care of myself mentally, physically. I was really avoiding relationships and that kind of stuff. So I was just kind of like burning everything around me while I like built one thing up. So like this year, I'm like, all right, I have to find a way to balance more.
Yeah.
So I do think obviously that, getting rid of 40 hours a week, that definitely...
It helps.
Yeah, it helps for sure. Not planning a wedding, that's super stressful. But yeah, finding balance is really important. Especially like lately, there's just like this like hustle mindset all of the time. Like you have to hustle and like beat yourself into the ground in order to like, be successful. And it's just really dangerous, I think.
It really is. I follow those people that are just like, nonstop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like crazy. And there are some people who kind of do that, but they do it in a smart way. And it's basically like they find the easiest thing that they can do, and like the easiest thing they can do with the biggest return. And that's kind of how they like model their, social strategies or anything like that. And I've just kind of like started listening to them and like how they do things, and I like it. I like it a lot more.
Right.
It's, sometimes my social is very inconsistent because I start getting overwhelmed with like, well, I actually have to work.
Right.
Like I have to edit videos. I have to shoot videos. I have to do this, and I have meetings and this and that.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh my God. And on top of that, I have to like make some kind of like post.
Right.
And so it's like, I put one out today that was a big carousel post that actually took me a long time to make. But at the same time, the return on that has already been absurd compared to just some like dinky photo of this room.
Right.
So it's good. It's working.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that would save me from having to do maybe another one tomorrow or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. Good advice coming from, people who are out there doing it and things like that. But what's the best piece of advice that somebody's given you about this business? Like with you traveling with these ladies and being friends with all of these amazing photographers and things.
Oh, geez. Wow. I'm like really bad at retaining, nuggets of wisdom. So, except for my husband today, but I'm not going to mention what he said because it's so inappropriate. But
I know what he said, and I almost spit my water out.
Sorry, Jake. But I think really like from a lot of, just like seeing other people, kind of succeed in, not even just like their photography business, but just like in general and in life. Not that it's ever been like said like specifically to me, but I think the biggest thing is just like believing in yourself and valuing yourself. So I think once you, like for me, when I started to do that, that's when everything changed for me. So I think just like, even like it's like corny and woo woo and whatever, but like believing in yourself is really, really important. And, I think instrumental for success or doing anything in life. Like, if you go to the gym and you're like, all right, well, I want to lift like whatever weight today, but you're like in your mind, I'm not going to do this, and you're not going to do it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? So I think just like, valuing yourself is really important. So that's probably, advice that I've gathered from a lot of people, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, when we talk about like entrepreneurship and things like that, that was kind of my biggest thing was, I've always wanted to run my own business ever since I got my hands on a camera. That was like the goal. But I didn't actually believe that I could sustain any kind of a living doing it. And after I had all these jobs and, went through training, in essence, I guess, like, day in and day out working at these companies, I learned a ton of things that I retained, and working with friends who are close to the business and things. And eventually, years and years and years and years later, I finally was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this.
Right.
And I believed in myself enough to go and do it. And I think that's the hardest part when I have people ask me like, how did you know you were ready to do that? And I'm just like, it's glaring. Like, when you're not, but when you're ready for it, something has either, lit a fire in you so good that like, you're ready to just jump. You're just like, all right, cool. I'm ready. Let's go. And I think that's really awesome. What do you love most about being an entrepreneur?
My free time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what is the best thing. I mean, I've never really been, someone who likes being tied down to a desk anyways. So I think just having like the ability to, kind of like make my own schedule is really cool. And like do things that I want to do. I think that's really cool. And, jobs that I would have picked in the past, like with my degree, I would not be doing nearly as well right now. So yeah, that's also obviously a perk, but
for sure.
But the free time, I think, is probably my favorite thing about the favorite perk of being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the free time. It's nice. I mean, like that lends itself to the whole like taking care of yourself, the self-love type of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I've never eaten breakfast so much in my entire life that I do now, because I have the time to like wake up and like mill around and get some coffee and let the dog out. And like, I'm like, oh, I can make myself some eggs. I'm going to do that.
Right.
And I just do. And then I take them up to my office and I sit and I start sending emails and I eat my food and then I'm done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's pretty awesome. Just, being an entrepreneur in this town at this time, I think it's good. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing. I think, just what you're doing for the females in this town, I think, and beyond, I think is just really good.
Yeah.
My wife, obviously, she was one of your clients here lately.
Yes.
And, she was talking about the photos yesterday after she came back from your studio, and she was just like so happy with them. Yeah. She was so amazed with everything that you did. And, it was good to see that positivity on her face, because like, I mean, she works a lot and she's just like, she's tired when she gets home and this and that. And I don't think that she really has like a very, a very positive outlook on just kind of how she feels all the time, because she's just so tired all the time.
Right.
And that session really like empowered her. It really made her feel like really great about herself, and that makes me feel great as well. Yeah. So
for sure.
All you husbands out there, you should send your ladies to Taylor.
Even I think that is really important too. Like as women, like I'm not a mom right now, but I feel like we give so much to everyone else that we kind of like, we're the last person that we worry about. So we don't show ourselves like love in certain ways, whether that's like, eating properly or like exercising or, spending time and money on yourself. So really, a session is just about like, you come in and it's like a day literally just like about you. Like you come in, you get your hair and makeup done, you have a photo shoot, you see your photos, like it's literally all about you and you don't have to worry about anyone else for one day. So I think that just having that time too can just be really helpful for a lot of people, because they don't often get that anymore. So I think that's important. And also it's for like, actually, I I'm hoping to expand, my services to really anyone who wants to feel empowered, even though that word is super mainstream right now too. But who wants to like kind of change the way they look at themselves. And like that can be men too, because men struggle with body image issues just as much as women do. So yeah, couples, men, women. I mean, primarily I serve women, but yeah.
I was ripping through your story on Instagram the one day when you first said something about the neon sessions, and you were like, "Who's up for this?" And just like cheeky, I was gonna be like, "Definitely me."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like the lighting's awesome. I think it would be
cool.
really cool, and there's definitely some dudes out there that would probably rock that shoot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do you work with a wide range of like ages for women right now? Like, do you have like young and old and things?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really show like my older clients on my like Instagram and social media and stuff because they're not really as comfortable with being, their images being shared. But I work with, anyone from like 21 all the way up to like past 60. I've had clients.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so unfortunately they have not allowed me to share their images, but but I do. I think like the older, I think we talked about this already, like the older generation, right? It's like a much different time. Like you had to like be modest and cover up and
way
like,
more private.
Yeah. So I think that the experience is just as cool, like, if not more for clients who are older, because it's like definitely breaking free from all of that shit that they've like, been told for the past 50 years. Yeah. So I think it is cool. I do work with pretty much anyone who will allow me to photograph them. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's really awesome. And in today's era, we'll call it, everybody's like really kind of taking care of themselves. And, there's so many more people like who are members of a gym or a CrossFit or something like that, or who are taking the time to like maybe go get their makeup done professionally, just like for a normal day.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that people are starting to like take some of that hard-earned money and use it for themselves, and not just like your typical like, hey, I'm going to go shop and buy some clothes or whatever, but doing things for yourself.
Right.
And that's a question that I had only because like, I mean, Elizabeth Hurley, like her Instagram, I don't know if you've seen her Instagram or anything. She's like 54 years old. Now, like 54 when I was a kid was like, that's my grandma, like 54. And now it's like 54-year-old women are like banging hot, like real hot. And it's like 54 back then does not look like 54 now. So that's why I was interested to hear like, if you had a wide range of people interested in things.
Yeah, I do. I think it takes them a little bit longer to kind of like be comfortable with the idea. But I do. Yeah. So I noticed that like a lot of my clients on my Instagram and stuff are like younger, but they just seem more comfortable with having their images shared, and as you get older too, you have a career and, you can't always share your images because of your job and stuff, or, your family or whatever. So yeah. But
yeah. Anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I mean, I think we, covered pretty much everything.
Pretty much everything. That's awesome. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, website, socials, all of that stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
I'll link this stuff in the show notes too.
Yeah. So my website is Taylor Raine Boudoir. That would be RAINEBOUDOIR.com, because no one knows how to spell boudoir or pronounce it really. But yeah. And then Facebook, if you just search Taylor Raine Boudoir. And then you can also search Taylor Raine Booty Babes, BOUDIE Babes. It's my that's where the private community is. It's really cool. It's more than just like I said earlier, like sharing photos and stuff. Like we kind of like celebrate each other's like successes and our lows and highs and that kind of stuff. And it's been really cool to see like the relationships that have been formed in there. Oh, and also I haven't done any lately though. I do like to do events like at the studio or in the community. So like we've done them at Aubrey's Fitness Envy. We've done events there, like that kind of stuff, just to like help people like find friendship, like, because I know I'm going off topic here.
Oh no, it's fine.
But like, I feel like as an adult, it's harder to locate friendships. So it's just really to help people like find a community and like, sisterhood and that kind of thing, and to just like have a place to belong somewhere. So yeah, the Facebook group is really cool, just for women right now though. And then Instagram is also Taylor Raine Boudoir. So yeah, that's
Awesome.
where I can be found. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very important, I think, for people to feel accepted and belong to a group or something like that. I mean, that's a basic human need at this point. And, you don't always find that when you're older and things. Like when you're a young kid, that's kind of all you're looking for. It's just like, I'm going to play with my friends, and that's that.
Right.
As you get older and work and a job becomes a thing, and a relationship, then it's like, you meet people when you go out, maybe to the bars or something like that. And, the people that you meet at the bars aren't always the people that you want to call your friends. So, it is what it is. But, I mean, like some of the people that I've met, some of my dearest friends that I've met, I've never actually met in person, a bunch through YouTube and Instagram and things like that. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, like if you're having these events, I would urge people to go out and just like meet other people who are, looking to hang out with other people and form new relationships and network with others.
Right.
I think it's very important.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And hopefully if we get a bigger space, it'll lend itself better to having those events, because usually it's like 20 people in a very tiny room in my studio, and it's intimate for sure. So yeah. Well,
that's what it's all about. All right. Taylor Raine, thank you so much for coming in. I was looking forward to this podcast. Did you have a good time?
I did. Yeah. I'm not so nervous now.
There you go.
But yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.